That's supposed to happen?
I don't know.
With E3 2017 well underway, we go back and look at the highlights of each of the major press conferences. I'm Darcblade, and in this episode we're going to be taking a look at the Sony E3 2017 conference. On a large stage, Sony provided a decent conference, although compared to their previous outings, it wasn't mind-blowing. This is probably due to the hype that Sony have been able to build up with their previous conferences, but it nonetheless gave us what we're all interested in, and that is more upcoming game news. I will also say that Sony's conference made clever use of lighting, sound and pyrotechnics that were visually impressive. Some personal shoutouts that I won't go into much or make separate highlights for were the DLCs or standalone expansions for Uncharted, The Lost Legacy and Horizon Zero Dawn's The Frozen Wilds. I'll also put a little shout out to Call of Duty World War II. It is interesting to see them going back to this era, but is it a little too late for the franchise? But anyway, moving on to the main highlights that we thought Sony delivered on. Anyway, the first highlight goes to Destiny 2. I was able to get quite deep into the Destiny franchise when it first launched, and for a long time I was actually satisfied, although I can admit there was a lack of story and overall content at the game's launch. However, with Destiny 2, hopefully they can rectify a lot of these issues, giving us more content and, more importantly, a more fleshed out story. During the conference we were given the story trailer, which seemed to focus on the Cabal, the heavy militaristic enemy faction. The tower is destroyed and we as Guardians pretty much have to start again from scratch. This could appeal to some players, but it also could detract from some players. Having to start again from scratch could be very off-putting, but we'll have to wait and see how this pans out when the game is launched on September the 6th, 2017. The next highlight goes to Shadow of the Colossus. Now, I don't know if this is a remake from scratch or just a port of the PlayStation 2 version. I'm hoping it's a bit of a remake here, as the controls for Shadow of the Colossus are a little bit archaic and thus clunky. With improved controls though, and the stunningly improved graphics that they showed during the conference, I'm hoping that one of my favourite games of all time gets another lease of life on the PlayStation 4. It's been claimed that this is a full-on remake, but either way we're going to have to wait a while. There are rumours that the game will be released in 2018, but we're not sure when, so this is one we're going to have to keep an eye on. The next highlight goes to SpiderMan. The finale of the PlayStation show showed off Spider-Man for the PS4. A beautiful gameplay demo showed us how the game functions, how it works, how combat works, as well as the thrilling missions we're likely to take on. The graphics are superb and seamlessly transition between cutscene and gameplay. Similarities could be made to the Batman Arkham games, but only when it came to combat. It's going to be interesting to see how this pans out, especially as Spider-Man is a more light-hearted character when compared to Batman. I'm going to be keeping one eye on this game, and while I'm not the biggest superhero fan, it's nonetheless tantalized me. The game will unfortunately be releasing in 2018. The next highlight goes to Days Gone. This zombie apocalypse game was shown off with a gameplay demo. We play as a biker-styled character as we leave a safe haven to venture out into a storm. During the gameplay demo as well, you saw examples of stealth gameplay as well as how you can lure the zombie enemies to fight your human enemies. It seemed very reminiscent of previous third-person action games. I did personally get a Last of Us vibe from this game, crossed with The Walking Dead, which made the game catch my eye. However, the demo was long, and at the end of it we were given no release date to when this game would be releasing. And the final highlight goes to God of War. This trailer we were shown features both cutscenes and gameplay. Although it didn't seem like the traditional God of War gameplay. Yes, it was still hack and slash in the third-person style, but it seemed a bit more up close and personal. Of course, Kratos has moved away from Greek mythology and we're now on Norse mythology, focusing on Norse gods and legends. We saw images of Drogar, trolls and other Norse creatures. We also got to learn a little bit more about Kratos and his son and their involvement in this new world. The highlight within the highlight of the God of War trailer was the introduction of Jormungandr, which to anyone who doesn't know Norse mythology is also known as the World Serpent, this giant mythical beast that circles the earth. It was also interesting to find out that Kratos' son could actually understand the creature, it understood the language, whilst Kratos didn't. It turns out that the creature actually wants to help, and to anyone who knows Norse mythology, you know that Jormungandr is actually involved in Ragnarok, which involves the destruction of the Norse gods. Does this creature desire Kratos' help in achieving this? We'll have to wait and see. Unfortunately though, there is a little bit of a wait for this game again, and it will be released early 2018, all being well. overall Sony's conference this year was a little bit underwhelming. That could be though because of the caliber of its previous E3s. And while it showed off almost 60 minutes worth of gameplay, there was little developer interaction. However, it seemed to give people what they wanted, and it focused on games. Whilst I think this year none of Sony's games stood out the most, especially when compared to the other conferences, it was nonetheless adequate. However, I personally was disappointed to see no hint of Bloodborne 2 or no news on The Last of Us 2. But anyway, what did you think of the Sony press conference? Leave a comment down below. And until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you another E3 2017 highlight video. Hope you enjoyed it, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.